The Womanity Index is an annual data-driven and evidence-based assessment of the performance of subnational governments in preventing and responding to gender-based violence. The report addresses critical need for subnational data that not only reflects the efforts and performance of state governments, but also informs policies, funding priorities, and strategic actions.
Are there enough sexual assault referral centers in each local government in Nigeria such that everyone within the state can access it? And of course, information and awareness. Information and awareness talks about whether people are aware of gender-based violence issues in their different dynamics.
There are laws now that, protect you. There's the VAP right, there's the VAP Act, there's the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, there's the Child Rights Act. There's so many of these laws that all the states have taken so much trouble to implement, and now you can hear they're translating them into various languages.
In this report, over 18,000 respondents were sampled on their gender-based violence experience, where it happened, and who was their first point of call.
As of 2024, based on the Womanity Index, the most prevalent form of gender-based violence that Nigerians face is the domestic violence or intimate partner violence, and followed by physical violence. Thereafter, we have mental or psychological, and then we have the sexual violence.
We begin to encourage people to report, encourage people to seek help. We do training in my foundation, Luke Sarah Leadership Foundation, and part of our training is to let them know referral services. Where do you run to? Where do you go to for support?
The 2023 edition of the report had only Lagos State topping the chart on government's response to gender-based violence. But for this year, 2 more states joined the top position: Rivers and Ekiti states.
We have more states that moved from red to amber this year. And I'll give an example. Katsina State moved from red state last year, and they are now an amber state. One of the things that Katsina did well is to pass their Violence Against Persons Prohibitions Act.
The First Lady of Kwara State emphasized the need for collaboration and partnership among sister government agencies and non-governmental organizations.
We also have like 10% or 12% of boys and men who are also assaulted or sexually abused, and we have to address. So that speaks to the fact that we have to address vulnerable groups, which includes the wards and all these other people.
The report is extremely important, which is why the Ford Foundation is supporting it, because data is what we need and use to determine our planning, and of course for other organizations as well, that we use in monitoring our impact.
It is hoped that Nigeria can become a country where gender-based violence is addressed and where government, policymakers, non-profit organizations and the citizens know what needs to be done to ensure gender-based violence is effectively responded to. Georgina Ndukwezainka, Arise News.